Hey, Don Williams here with today's episode of The Proven Entrepreneur. I have my good friend, and I'm so excited for her to join the show today, Natalya all the way from Barcelona, Spain. Good morning.
Good morning, good evening, good afternoon.
Yeah.
Depending
Well,
where
good
you
morning
are.
to me. Good evening to you. And so thank you so much for being on the show. Let's start out with one good thing, something you're grateful for that we don't know about you. And I'll go first. That's only fair. And so I have been fighting. It's spring, and I have been fighting allergies and then an eye infection. And so I am glad for the miracle of modern medicine. After about 10 days, I only kind of look like I'm crying all day, and which I'm really not, but I'm on the mend. And so I am grateful for that. How about you,
I'm
Natalya? Something
beautiful.
you're grateful
I'm
for?
beautiful. Well, I'm grateful that you don't experience such a challenge anymore with your eyes. So that's something I'm grateful for. And for the rest, the ability to travel the past year still between Berlin, Brussels, and Barcelona. So I'm in Berlin right now, going to Barcelona tomorrow. I'm really grateful for that.
That's awesome. People have stayed home so much. They are excited to go, go, go.
Yeah, indeed.
Yeah. So let's hop right into it. Tell us, what are you doing now? Tell us about your business.
What I'm doing, I'm helping entrepreneurs, leaders, and their organizations live to their full potential. And we use energy leadership coaching to really get to the core of whatever that is they're going through and whatever is at the core and the essence of their thoughts, emotions, and actions or inactions, which is a beautiful moment right now with everybody going back to their working places or whatever those working places look like, and dealing with all those challenges and reinventing their organizations and their energy with it.
Awesome. So tell us a little bit more about energy and how we use or avoid using energy and what it can mean to our performance.
Right. So basically, what core energy coaching is a process that supports people and having the awareness of whatever is at the core of their thoughts and beliefs, attitudes about, work, life, community, etc., etc. And it plays a significant role in determining the experience they live. Just like you can imagine, if you believe it's a really bad weather and it's a really bad day and you're feeling mentally down, and it physically affects you as well, you have lower motivation and lower engagement and lower performance, and etc., etc., and a sense of satisfaction and how you enjoy the day or not. And the same affects every single thing we do or don't do because of the external and internal environment. Short.
Yeah, no, love that. And so you do that. You own a business based in Barcelona, but literally, I mean, I know you have clients all around the globe. And so what's the name of that business?
Life by Design Academy.
The Life by Design Academy out of Barcelona, Spain. And so now I know, because I know you, I know part of your story, but let's go back to early Natalya. So when you were a young to school age girl, did you tell us about your first job where you actually got paid?
First job I actually got paid. All right. Well, job wasn't an official job, but also first entrepreneurial experience. I was around, I think, 9 years old, selling vegetables and fruit from my country house at the Russian market. Preparing the crops, delivering the crops, attracting the clients, negotiating the prices, and making my grandma really happy with the whole process being done and successful. Mission accomplished. The money was there. If I remember it well, I'm sure I got some of it, and she was always supporting me. Next thing, I think, was babysitting in US, and I was an exchange student in the 90s coming from Moscow to California. And there was some money exchange there, if that counts.
Sure.
And I think the official one would be in the bank back in Moscow in the end of 90s.
Awesome. And
yeah,
so
I was working in the bank.
we find so common, a common thread amongst entrepreneurs is that they learned a very strong work ethic as a child, and or were actually entrepreneurial. So preparing the crops, taking the crops to the farmer's market, negotiating a little haggle, trying to get the most money you can. And all sounds pretty entrepreneurial to me. Now, I know you were born and raised in Russia and you live in Barcelona, and I know some of the stops along the way, but I think everybody would be thrilled to kind of hear how many stops. And so tell us about your journey from Russia to Barcelona and where all you've been in the interim.
Geez, you have a couple of hours for that. From Moscow, I went to California, as I said, an exchange student. I had 4 stops there, as I lived in 4 different families, U.S. families. Went to two schools from Northern to Southern California. So that was that. I moved and I studied and I finished my bachelor in business in Amsterdam. Moved around Holland as well. So I was 7 years in Holland and moved to Spain, to Canarian Islands, out of all places, living on a small island. Do not get a capital girl to a small island. It might start being suffocating pretty fast. Then was about Barcelona. And then I ended up living in Belgium for like 12 years. And now back to Barcelona, just simply because I love it there.
That's awesome.
It's in short, 6 countries, including Berlin, then between, and 24 moves, I think, if you count the post address.
That's good. So Life by Design Academy is not your first business, is it? No.
Definitely not. Definitely not.
So tell us about your first, and I'll say real business.
The real business, I think in my 20s, I started a company that was producing hair accessories and merchandising, and we were producing in China. It was a small business, and I was designing all the little things for kids and adults, you know, the girly stuff, from hairbrushes to clips and all sorts of things. And we were selling to Russia. And then because I was still a foreign person, you know, we're talking about Soviet Union, Russian passport, the Dutch student being me, trying to make a living and do it legally speaking. I had to change the whole plan, and instead of running a company, get a proper job and the residence and the working permit and all that stuff. So that was an interesting journey. And then I came back I had a business with my business partner running a chocolate factory in Belgium, hence Belgium, and stayed there for a while to keep the lives of many people sweet. And then Life by Design.
I love that. Keeping the lives of many people sweet.
Yes.
So awesome. So how long ago did you leave the chocolate business?
That was around 2.5 years ago, when our common friend Warren Rustang got us to on top of Machu Picchu with around 30 entrepreneurs from Entrepreneurial organization. And, you know, the light bulb went on and Life by Design came to reality. And I wanted to make it more meaningful for myself and other people, making a difference, in a different way than keeping it sweet.
Yeah, but both very beneficial to humanity. But our mutual friend Warren Rustin is a big proponent of intentional living, or living by design, and exactly. Obviously you applied the principle to your own life first, and now you help other people on their journey to intentional living. So started that business 2.5 years ago. Tell us how you ended the chocolate adventure and began the energy adventure.
That was a good adventure. I think one overlapped with the other, and I really wonder if we really let go completely of something because it stays such an important part of our life and our memory and our experience, and whether experience of running a company or being a leader and a human being. And Yeah, so over 2.5 years ago, I wanted to build an organization whereby I can provide experts and coaches a beautiful opportunity to do what they do best. Everybody knows they're great at what they do. The last thing they love is selling, marketing, and business development. That where I come in, because I did it for 20 years. And I love connecting people and connecting opportunities and building something. And on the other side, the entrepreneurs and their organizations and leaders of those organizations to develop what they want and change the way of work and the way of life and everything. So, and then I thought, well, I might as well check out the whole coaching deeply. One thing is to work with coaches and hire coaches. Another thing is, even coming from HR background and running companies, that was something I wanted to master. So I found the International Institute that works with coaching, not only coaching, but energy leadership coaching. And that went deep. And like you said, apply it for yourself first. So I had to go through the whole thing. It's like peeling the onion and getting completely different skin on. It's an interesting experience. So now I have a team from US to Middle East and beautiful experts that speak the same language of business and energy, which is beautiful, and beautiful projects from US to Asia, profit, non-profit, and it's super fulfilling and different from creating chocolates and consuming them too.
Yeah. So, in my own journey, I've founded a dozen companies in various industries, and some of those went really, really well. Some not so well, and a couple just completely blew up. Were no good at all. But what I found was once I began helping other people improve, that was really where my superpower was, and where I'm most fulfilled in seeing other people hit their goals. So tell us about a warp speed moment. So in one of your businesses, things is going along pretty good. Okay, no complaints, but all of a sudden, one or two things happened that, man, your business just shot off. And do you have a moment like that you can share with us?
I would think, I would say in the chocolate industry, in the chocolate business, we had a very specific product for the market, which became quite niche. And then market changes, whether it's COVID or consumer trends. And we realized that we are just going to lose half of our business, if not more, if we're not going to change something, right? So, I mean, you have this old big factory and the people, and they used to produce the same thing for, I don't know, 130 years in this case.
Wow.
Clearly, I didn't start the business. Yeah, you just need to innovate. So pivoting or looking for different products and different markets. And that's what we did. Although that did come at a cost, because we got into retail, into where it's all about price rather than the quality and service. And that was an interesting lesson to have, to really anticipate and think in different directions, and also learn from others' examples rather than waiting for your own to come. So that was harsh. So we had to close the factory and outsource the production. That was the end of the story. So now it's small boutique business, and we did shrink, and we finally focus on what we do best instead of trying to be everything for everybody. That was the lesson.
Yeah, and ultimately, that was an overall improvement for the business.
Definitely, it just simplified a lot of things in terms of supply chain. I mean, you can imagine production is a tough operation. Not only you have the factory and the equipment and the people, and to deal with the quality, supply chain, etc., stock, and everything then between. A lot of brands are brands, and they are distributors, and that's basically what we became at the end of it, having a good partner for production. that runs everything else until here smoothly, so then we can do what we do best.
I was in Zurich a couple of years ago, and we visited the Lindt
Oh yeah,
chocolate
beautiful.
factory. And I was amazed, had no idea how large it was, how many people were involved. And I will say this, once you got within about a mile of the factory, it had this wonderful, sweet chocolate aroma that,
Yeah, I can imagine.
it would, if you were a chocolate fan, you couldn't get within a mile because you'd want to come in and walk out with some chocolate for sure. So, so thinking back, let's say we had a time machine and you could go back. You've been an entrepreneur 15 or 20 years now. And so you could go back and you could share one piece of advice with 20-year-old Natalya, but only one. Okay. And so what would you share with your 20-year-old self that would have been beneficial along your journey?
That's a very good question, because it's only one.
It's only
I
one.
would think listen to your intuition and your gut, and don't let anything stand between you and your dream.
That's a good one. And so I put you on the spot. I'll share mine. Mine's a little different. And I am very intuitive, I think, for a man. I don't know that intuition is strictly a female thing, but for me, it took me many years to figure out that I should collaborate and listen to input and feedback from people that were very different from me. And so whether they were female or different politically or different personality types, because for many, many, many years, I just believed that if you disagreed with me, you were either mentally slow, or you didn't understand, or you were confused because I was right. And I'm not proud to say that. That's not a good way to be, but that is, part of my story. And it took me many years to figure out I need input from a lot of people, and if it's my role to make the final decision, then I can do that. And if it's not, if it's your role, I can let you do that. And but to seek input from as many diverse people as I can. So
Thank you for sharing that.
my pleasure.
It definitely relates to that. I would say, like, well, you cannot change back, bring, change whatever, but definitely having that, taking away the ego part, not thinking that you got it right, and, well, that openness. And I've always been curious, that's why it took me so many places, but that piece of the ego, I can say, whether it was cultural or upbringing, being defensive, being, single parent kid or whatever, I think a bit less of the ego and it would be even better, because that stands on the way. And if we can leave the ego at the door, which is really hard, and not have the judgment of self and others, that would make things so much more smoother and less challenging for us.
I totally agree, though it took me a long time to get there. Took me a long time to get there. I was one of those kids who never took a book home, always had the best grades. I pretty much everything I did went very, very well. And I allowed myself to be rewarded by that. And so I held a very high opinion of myself. And I do think if you're not going to think well of you, nobody else is. You should think well of yourself. But I certainly missed collaborating with other people that weren't like me for a long time. And that's been a big lesson in my life. So tell us about your business. If somebody reaches out to Life by Design Academy and they look to engage your firm, or a coach in your firm, what's that look like? How long are they working with someone? Kind of give us the outline, the framework because we may have people that would reach out.
That's very nice. Thank you. It can be anything from having a keynote speech and a workshop around energy leadership and how individuals and their teams manage their energy and move from the place of being a victim or the effect of life situations and people and whatever, feeling stuck and frustrated and angry and competitive, move them to the place of creation, flow, creativity, collaboration, as we were talking about, and that seeking win-win opportunities and solutions, and ultimately really create that productivity and sustainable results. It can be anything from 3 months engagement working with the teams and the people, whether it is moving into really rebuilding and rethinking how they work and their mindsets, 2 years of ongoing coaching. You can always be more a conscious leader and the leader that everyone can look up to, including yourself. Self-leadership is very important, and that's the principal part of it. So, right. Yeah. And we can always improve and be the better versions of ourselves, as Warren always says. Be the best version of yourself, and there's no limit to growth.
I totally agree. And, on the leadership subject, I've always felt that the eternal struggle is leading oneself. Much easier to lead other people. But I, like most leaders, I carry a pass in my pocket for me. If I don't perform, I'm like, oh, well, here's my pass. Sometimes we don't hold that same pass, for others, but the hardest leadership is always ourselves. So maybe the toughest question, if the Proven Entrepreneur Tribe could support you, what would you ask from us for you today?
Interesting. What is coming up is, the only thing coming up is, how can I support you? Because, at the end of the day, what you give is what you get. And that state of fulfillment, satisfaction, and success comes from, and that's, the higher energy level you're at, is all about understanding and feeling that we are all connected and we are a tribe, like you said, and it's not about me, it is about the others. I mean, it's all interrelated, and energetic resonance, energy attracts like energy. So I'm trying to leave the ego at the door, not trying, but I'm here for you guys. And I'm grateful for that entrepreneurial tribe I had within EO for years, and everybody that made a difference in my life and all the people I collaborate with. And so I just want to give back.
And if you don't know, EO, which Natalya and I have referred to as Entrepreneurs Organization, 14,000, almost 15,000 of us around the world, every country. And entrepreneurs supporting entrepreneurship and other entrepreneurs. And you could reach out to Natalya or me, and we could get you more information if you were interested in that. Okay, so Natalya, if somebody wanted to reach out to you, how would we contact you?
Natalya Berdikyan, NatalyaBerdikyan on all the social media, LinkedIn, etc. And otherwise it's contact at livebydesign-academy.com. Here to support. I'm here to raise the energy of the whole wide world and create opportunities and help people to live to their full potential and believe that everything is possible, because it is the place of abundance rather than lack.
Literally one of my favorite people on this planet, my Russian sister, Natalya. Please reach out to her. Thank you so much for joining us on today's episode of The Proven Entrepreneur. See you next time. Thanks. Bye.
Thank you.